Have you ever made a promise to God? Maybe it was a whispered prayer in the middle of the night, or a silent vow during a tough time, when you felt like you had nowhere else to turn. Maybe in a moment of desperation or gratitude, or hope. Sometimes we find ourselves reaching out, making promises we hope will change our circumstances, or simply to express our thanks for blessings received. If you have, you're not alone. People have been making vows to God for thousands of years. Across cultures and generations, this act of promising something sacred has been a way for people to connect with the divine. In fact, the very last chapter of Leviticus, yes, that ancient book tucked away at the front of your Bible, talks all about this. It's a chapter that might seem hidden, but it's packed with meaning about the promises we make and the seriousness with which God views them. So why do these promises matter? Why would God care about the words we say, especially when life gets overwhelming and we're just trying to get by? Why does God care if I follow through? Is it just about rules, or is there something deeper at play here? Well, in Leviticus, if someone dedicated a person, like a family member or even themselves, to the Lord, there was a value attached. This wasn't just a symbolic gesture, it was a real, tangible commitment, one that involved both heart and resources. That value wasn't just about money, it was about commitment. The act of assigning value showed that what you offered to God was precious, not to be taken lightly or given up on a whim. You could redeem, or buy back, what you offered with silver if you needed to, but the promise itself was sacred. The process was designed to make you pause and consider, is this vow something I truly mean? Am I willing to honor it even if it costs me? Animals were treated the same way. If you dedicated an animal, it wasn't just another possession, it became part of your spiritual offering. If you offered an animal to God, it became holy, set apart. It was no longer yours to use as you pleased. It belonged to God, marked by your promise. Not just any animal would do, and you couldn't swap it out for a better one later. The first choice, the original offering, was the one that mattered. Once you gave it, it was God's. No takebacks. This was a way of teaching that our words and commitments have lasting impact. They're not just temporary feelings. Even homes and land weren't off limits. People could dedicate their property, the very places they lived and worked, as a sign of devotion. If someone dedicated their house or field, a priest would set its value, and that became the offering to God. It was a way of saying, everything I have, even the roof over my head, can be given to you, Lord. Every vow, every gift, every promise, no matter how big or small, carried real weight. It didn't matter if it was a little or a lot, what mattered was the heart behind it, and the willingness to follow through. But here's the thing, these promises were never forced. God never demanded vows, He invited them, leaving the choice up to each person. No one made you do it. It was your choice. That's what made the promise so